Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy deep, emotional stories about love, relationships, and the quiet moments that change everything, this is the place for you. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with me because tonight's story isn't just about a marriage. It's about what happens when silence grows louder than words, and what it takes to find your way back. The rain had softened into a steady drizzle, the kind that didn't demand attention but lingered in the background, tapping gently against the windows like a quiet reminder of something unresolved. Outside, the world felt distant, blurred by mist and muted by gray skies. But inside the Parker home, something far more significant was unfolding. The living room carried a warmth that had nothing to do with temperature. It was the presence of three people, three hearts trying, perhaps for the first time in a long while, to truly see one another again. Ethan sat in his usual chair, the one he always gravitated toward after long days. His hands were clasped together, fingers interlocked as if holding onto something fragile. His gaze was fixed on the soft glow of a nearby lamp, but he wasn't really seeing it. His thoughts were elsewhere, somewhere between the past and a quiet fear of what the future might hold. Lavra sat on the couch beside him, though not quite close enough to touch. Her coat lay discarded on the floor, forgotten the moment she stepped inside. Strands of damp hair clung lightly to her face, evidence of the rain she had walked through, but also, perhaps, of something heavier she had been carrying for much longer. Maya sat at the edge of the couch, her posture careful, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She felt the weight of the moment more than either of them. Not because she didn't belong, but because she did, in a way that was complicated, unexpected, and entirely emotional. No one spoke at first, but the silence wasn't empty. It was full, heavy with unspoken truths, buried feelings, and the quiet understanding that something important was happening for the first time in what felt like years. None of them were pretending. Ethan felt it first, the subtle shift inside his chest. The tension that had lived there for months didn't disappear, but it changed. It softened. It became something honest, a mix of guilt, relief, longing, and hope. Lavra broke the silence. Her voice was soft, almost fragile. When did we stop being close? The question landed gently, but its impact was immediate. Ethan swallowed hard. He had asked himself that same question countless times. Late at night, early in the morning, in the quiet moments when the distance between them felt too loud to ignore. But hearing it from her, from Laura, made it real in a way it had never been before. I don't know, he admitted quietly. I think we just got caught up in everything else. Work, responsibilities, life. And somewhere along the way, we stopped noticing each other. Laura nodded slowly, her eyes lowering as if searching the floor for answers that weren't there. I think I did too, she said. I thought I was showing love the way I always had. But maybe I stopped seeing what you needed. Maya watched them both, her heart caught between relief and sadness. Relief because the truth was finally being spoken. Sadness because it had taken this long. She considered stepping away, giving them space. But before she could move, Laura turned to her. Maya, do you know why I'm not angry? Maya blinked, surprised. Her lips parted slightly as she shook her head. No. I thought you would be. Laura gave a faint smile. It wasn't forced, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Because when I walked in, I saw something, she said. Something I haven't felt in a long time. Her gaze moved between Ethan and Maya. You were comfortable, honest, warm. There was something real between you. Something Ethan and I haven't had for months. Ethan felt a sharp pang in his chest. Guilt came first, but it was quickly followed by something else. Clarity. He had spent so long analyzing what was wrong, trying to fix things in his head, that he had forgotten what connection actually felt like. And when it finally appeared, he hadn't even recognized it. Laura, she gently raised her hand, stopping him. I know, she said softly. And I don't blame either of you. Maya's breath caught slightly. Being here tonight, it reminded me of something, Laura continued. What connection is supposed to feel like? Maya's voice came out as a whisper. I never meant to take your place. You didn't, Laura said immediately. You never did. There was a pause. Then, more gently, you reminded me of what I've been missing. And I don't want to lose that anymore. Not with him. And not with you. The room shifted again, not dramatically but enough to be felt. Ethan leaned forward slightly, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Laura, I love you. I always have. I just didn't realize how far we drifted until now. Laura reached for his hand, their fingers intertwined naturally like muscle memory. I love you too, she said. That never changed. But love, by itself, isn't enough when we stop seeing each other. Her voice softened. We need to rebuild, slowly, honestly. Together, this time. The silence that followed felt different. Not heavy. Not tense. But safe. Hours passed. None of them noticed that they really talked for the first time in what felt like forever. Not about surface things. Not about schedules or responsibilities, but about feelings. Lavra spoke about the exhaustion she had been carrying, the pressure to balance everything, to be everything, until she had nothing left for herself. Or for them. Ethan admitted the loneliness he hadn't even fully understood. The quiet distance he had tried to ignore, hoping it would fix itself. Maya shared her own story, the feeling of returning to a place that once felt like home, only to realize she no longer fully belonged anywhere. There were no accusations. No raised voices. Just honesty. Raw and filtered. Real. And in that honesty, something began to heal. At one point, Laura leaned back against the couch, letting out a slow breath. I didn't realize how much I needed this, she said. Maya looked at her gently. I think we all did. Ethan nodded. I kept trying to fix things on my own, he admitted. But that's not how this works, is it? Maya smiled softly. No, we don't fix things alone. We fix them together. The conversation drifted into memories. Lighter ones, moments that reminded them of who they used to be. Do you remember the lake trips? Laura asked suddenly. Ethan smiled faintly. Yeah, we'd sit there for hours, talking about everything and nothing. That's when I felt closest to you, she said quietly. I miss that, he replied. Maya leaned forward slightly. Maybe that's what tonight is, she said. Not fixing everything, but remembering what's still worth holding onto. Laura looked at her with gratitude. Thank you, she said, for being here, for showing me what I couldn't see. As the night deepened, something subtle but powerful took shape. Not something messy, not something inappropriate, but something deeply human. A renewed connection, a shared understanding, a willingness to be present. Together. Later, as the rain softened even further, Ethan glanced toward the window, then back at the two women beside him. And for the first time in a long while, he didn't feel lost. Lavra rested her head back, her eyes closing briefly. I never thought I'd feel this open again, she admitted. Ethan squeezed her hand gently. This feels like a second chance. Maya nodded. Then, let's not waste it. They didn't solve everything that night. There was no perfect ending. No clear plan, but they had something better. Truth. Honesty. And the courage to show up for one another again. As the final drops of rain tapped softly against the glass, the three of them sat together in quiet understanding. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And sometimes that's where healing begins. If this story meant something to you, if you've ever felt distance in a relationship or wondered how to find your way back, remember this: connection doesn't disappear. It fades. It quiets, but it can always be rebuilt. All it takes is honesty, presence, and the courage to step closer instead of walking away. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. And if you stayed until the end, thank you. It means more than you know.